afternoon, everybody. We are excited to have the CBS Food Program today, and our speaker, Jonathan Shahar, who's the Executive Officer at CBS Food Program, a nonprofit organization dedicated to providing healthy, tasty, and dependable meals to children throughout Greater Philadelphia. Prior to taking the helm of CBS Food Program, Jonathan was an associate at a boutique law firm that focuses primarily on corporate and commercial real estate transactions and clerked in the First Judicial District of Pennsylvania. He holds a bachelor's degree from Penn State University and a law degree from Temple University, Beasley School of Law to you.
You.
Uh, welcome, John. We're glad to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm gonna just share my screen real quick here and just jump right in. So after that, perfect. So after that lovely introduction, I want to thank you guys all for having me. Um, Chris did a pretty good job of giving my rundown. Uh, I was saying in our little small group that I like to say that I'm a recovering attorney. Until about May of last year, I was practicing, doing mostly corporate and real estate work, clerked for some judges, and before that, I was a consultant at a healthcare consulting firm. But now I am leading the charge here at CBS Food Program. So, CBS Food Program is a nonprofit that's focused on providing excellent, nutritious, and dependable meals to the kids of the greater Philadelphia area. We see, hunger is one of the major barriers to just success generally. They say all the time that the biggest problem in schools isn't disciplinary, it's actually that kids just need food. And so our goal is to make sure that every kid gets a meal, breakfast, lunch, snack, supper, whatever the case may be. Um, so primarily the way that we operate is through a variety of different federal grant programs. 100% of our revenue right now comes from the federal government through the State Department of Education. We we partner with service providers that are doing the hard work of actually caring for the kids and being with them and educating them on the day to day. And we just alleviate the problem of making sure that they get fed. So we're working with daycares, with schools, with after school programs, any nonprofit organization that is having activities for kids. We want to work with them to make sure that, you focus on making sure the kids, get proper education, proper developmental experience, socialization, all of that. We worry about the healthy and nutritious foods so that you don't have to. Our organization was originally founded in 2001 uh, here in Northeast Philadelphia, where our headquarters and central distribution center are right now. Um, it's been ebbing and flowing. Uh, we had a big boom during COVID, and then right after, there's a lot of need during COVID. And then right after, there was sort of a decimation of the childcare industry post-COVID in terms of just enrollments and hirings and being able to keep those programs going. But we're starting to see that kind of pick back up, which has been really heartwarming to know that there are people out there that are taking care of the kids, which allows us to feed more kids. We work a lot, again, as I said, with federal regulators, so constantly in communication with people at the USDA and the Pennsylvania Department of Education, because most of the money that we're receiving comes from the federal government. They want to make sure that we're only giving food to those that need. So a lot of our operations kind of relies on making sure that we're given to eligible children in eligible locations and doing our best to meet nutritional guidelines, Buy America provisions, anything that the government kind of imposes to make sure that we're doing right by our kids, we're sticking to those and we do a pretty good job of that. Because we want to make sure that we're meeting the highest standards. Our core values. This has been sort of the guiding principle that I've been working on with our team since we got here are these three core values of quality, community, and consistency. Everything that we do, every decision that we make, you know, every new initiative, this is the lifeblood of the stuff that we're doing. We want to make sure that quality comes first. The food's got to be good. It's got to taste good. It's got to be healthy. It's got to be something that the kids want to eat. We're getting out there, we have a couple of people on our team who are constantly going to food shows to try new stuff and innovative ways to, introduce vegetables, to introduce fruits, to try different, protein products to make sure that kids are getting the variety and the nutrition that they need. And, if it tastes good, you're more likely to come back to it, right? If you're trying a broccoli and it was made terribly and you're like, ew, I hate broccoli, you're not going to have broccoli again. But if we can find ways to make broccoli fun and exciting and taste good, that's lifelong nutritional eater that helps not just, you know, whomever today, that's a forever, you know, lesson. The next one is community. We're a community-based organization. We're focused on the communities that we're serving. We want to be in touch and in conversation with the different communities that we're serving. We serve food in Philadelphia, in Montgomery County, in Bucks County, in Delaware County, and in Chester County. Each of the different centers, schools, summer camps that we're serving have different student populations that have different nutritional needs and dietary restrictions and religious dietary restrictions and, you know, ethnoculture themes in their food. And we want to be very cognizant of that. A good example, we run 100% of our kitchen is actually kosher food product because we serve a good, like a chunk of Jewish contingent. And we also realized that that was enabling us to be responsive to the Muslim community that needs halal food. And so kosher and halal have a lot of overlap. So we were able to actually meet those two needs. And then in conversation with a lot of the different, Muslim service providers that we were working with, we started to pilot out a whole new halal line so that the food that was going to the halal community centers, the halal daycare centers and summer camps was actually halal and not kosher. We recognized that kosher was good enough, but we don't want to be good enough. We want to be really meeting people where they are. And the last value is consistency, right? It's lovely to have an idea and to be able to do it once. It's more important for us to be able to do it over and over and over again. It's that dependability, the reliability of a meal that becomes, crucial in the developmental ages of the kids that we're serving. So quality, community, consistency. My staff hates it. I repeat it ad nauseum, but I think it's the ethos that drives what we do. Like I said, we're running mostly federal programs. This is a quick overview of the three major programs that we're running. The CACFP, the SFSP, and the NSLP. The full long titles are up there. We just speak in a lot of acronyms. I'm sure everybody in your industry has all kinds of acronyms, but these are ours. So CACFP is the majority of what we do. That's our daycare centers. That's our at-risk after-school programs. That's our Head Start programs. That's a big bulk of what we do. Um, the summer food is coming up. Our, menu planning team, our ops team is gearing up to serve all of the summer camps. That's kind of a whole separate bucket. And then we do schools, similar to the free reduced lunch that you would get at school when you were growing up. We do that for mostly private, parochial, and charter schools. The, major school districts do it in their own in-house. So we kind of help out in the spaces that major districts aren't already. A little bit of by the numbers. Right now, we're servicing 175 different daycares, schools, after schools. That number doesn't actually include summer camps because when I was putting this together, we didn't have a finalized number of our summer camps, but that's our schools, after schools, Head Starts, daycares. We got 175 of them every single day. That means 5,502 kids. I didn't put the two in because I rounded, but 5,502 kids we feed every single day. We got a staff of 35 here, dedicated, committed people that have been doing this for a while. I think our average tenure is about 11 and a half years. So people really are drawn to the mission, care about the work that we're doing. Part of that quality piece is we want to be quality food and quality service to our centers and our children, but we also want to be a quality employer, a place where people can come and have a good job and do meaningful work. And I think that that's been reflected by the tenure of our employees. A fun fact, we purchased about 1.2 million gallons in the 23-24 fiscal year. When I first started and we were, planning out the next year and I saw that number, I was shocked because that's so much milk. But that's a fun little fact. Um, 16,808. We are moving to a new warehouse and headquarters. We are going from a 5,000 square foot warehouse to a 16,800 square foot warehouse. You can see that's a little more than a three times jump. It's going to allow us to continue to bring in new and variety of products to, grow and expand. The need is out there. So being able to do what we do at larger scale. So we're really excited for that. We have about 371 different inventory items. So our menu, 5 days a week, every single day of the year. We're rotating in 371 different fruits, veggies, proteins, pastas, rices, whatever the case may be. We're at 371 and hoping to even grow that more. And then our goal is to get to about 270 centers, daycare schools, after schools in the next 3 years or so. So who do we serve? Like I said, 5,502 children ages 0 to 12 in the greater Philadelphia area. You can see over there on the right, that's a map of all of our centers right now. We're ranging all the way up from the Yardley-ish area in that northeast corner, all the way down to Chester in that southwestern corner, and everything in between. It's 160 daycare centers, 27 summer camps, 8 at-risk after schools, 7 Head Start programs, 7 private and parochial schools. The 27 summer camps is the number as of yesterday. Um, Thought that'd be fun to chat in. We're still accepting applications for new summer camps, so that might, expand out even further. How do we do it? So we have an ops team. Uh, they're well trained in all the different meal components, nutritional guidelines, and they put together a monthly menu. We have 2 different menus depending on the size of the institution and the service provider that we're helping with. They plan it out, make sure that every single meal matches meal components, meets all the federal guidelines, and then our purchasing team goes out, purchases it from the, best price, contracted price, whatever the case may be. We have all that stuff delivered to our central distribution center where it's broken down and delivered out every single day to all of the different centers that we serve. So every morning, each of the different centers that we're serving get a delivery, a box delivery from one of our drivers. Here's breakfast, lunch, and snack. Here's, lunch and supper, whatever their case may be. I like to say that we're glorified milkmen nowadays. But like I said, we're expanding. The reason why we're expanding is because there's still a huge need, right? This is a study that was done with another nonprofit that we kind of work with in the Pennsylvania Department of Education. There are about 2,600 providers, daycare centers, at-risk programs, Head Starts that are actually not receiving meals. And this is, federal dollars that are being left on the table in the state of Pennsylvania. And that means that there's about 200,000 kids statewide that are eligible, that could have meals that would be, nutritious and meet all of the federal components, but are not at this time. Um, and so we have aspirations to be able to meet as much of that need as we possibly can. By rough estimate, about 50 to 75,000 of that 200,000 are within, the 5 counties that we serve already. So there's a massive need. We're doing our best to meet as much of it. We partner with as many people as we can to really get it out there. So how are we meeting that need? Is that new warehouse. We're super excited about it. We're hoping to move in September 1. One of the key features of this new warehouse that we're going to, we're actually building our own commercial kitchen. Right now, we have 2 or 3 vendors that pre-vend meals for us, which is great, but I always like a fresh cooked or a day after meal rather than a couple days later, which, frozen product as they come in. But we're building our own. It's going to be about 1,800 square feet, 40 burners, 12 ovens, all the foodstuffs that we could be making, so that it could be fresh. The goal is ultimately, fresh day of meals. We cook it, deliver it the same day, as opposed to, the day before or 2 days before delivering, frozen leftover meals. Um, we're also bringing out new revenue lines so that we can have a little bit less of a reliance on the federal government. Um, it's been an interesting year. We're also trying to do a little bit more in the actual programming space. Right now, we've been very focused on just meals, making sure that it's healthy, delicious, and something that the kids want to eat. But even that's not enough sometimes to make, whomever want to eat their vegetables. So we're looking to build out a little bit more of a, if you're partnered with us, we're actually going to send in a nutritionist who focuses on child nutrition to run an hour-long program with your classes and your centers to make healthy eating and nutrition really something that's ingrained into the lives of the kids. Because again, start them early, it becomes a lifelong nutrition journey. That's where we're at. You guys have any questions? I think I went a little faster than I was expecting, but
All good. All good. Great job. Great job.
Well,
Yes, if anyone has any questions, John, you can stop sharing your screen now so we can get your responses full screen. And by all means, anyone have any questions?
I do, Jonathan. Where do you source your food from?
we get from about 16 different vendors. Um, everywhere from Lancaster to South Jersey, North Jersey, a little bit in New York, major food distributors, some local farmers. It's a process of trying to find the best food at the best price, who can get it to us in time, right? We have a 5,000 square foot warehouse, so everything is just in time delivery. And if we need, you know, 10,000 hamburger rolls, and we need it tomorrow, it's, who can get us 10,000. Usually we don't need it like that. We order pretty much like a month out, but about 16 different vendors in our general region.
I
Thanks.
know. Vivian has her hand up. Vivian, you can go.
Okay. Where are you located?
So our headquarters are right in Huntington Valley, right on the edge of Huntington Valley in Northeast Philadelphia, but we service the, five surrounding Philadelphia and the five surrounding counties.
Okay. And do you also accept volunteers from time to like, during certain times of the year, or is everyone just employed there?
At this particular juncture, we are not accepting volunteers. Everybody's an employee, mostly
Okay.
as a, space concern, right? Everything is in this small little warehouse. We are putting to once we move into the new space, we were going to have a new volunteer program to start bringing in people because we know that, it means a lot more to just be able to actually pack and actually help to make and to be a part of the cooking process. And, you know, like I said, community is part of our core values, and we want our community to be involved in the preparation and the cooking, right? We show love through food, so why not bring everybody into it?
Awesome. Let's go to Marge has her hand up.
Yeah, i- so I'm a social worker, long time, 30 plus years, nonprofit world. So I'm anxiously watching what's happening with the federal budget. I see that you plan to diversify your funding sources a bit. What do the changes at the federal level mean for you?
So as of right now, there has been no direct shot or cut to the
Hmm.
fundings that we have. That being said, there has been reduction in staff at the USDA, which has made some of the ins and outs of what we need to do a little bit more complicated just because the knowledge base isn't there. There's been some reductions in the Head Start fundings, which impacts those that we serve. So that is, secondary impact. And all of our policy and regulatory people say, there is no appetite for cutting childhood nutrition meals on purpose. And so we just make sure that we're monitoring, we keep doing what we're doing. It's I'm not in Washington, D.C. for a reason because I'm focused on making sure that we just feed the kids and we keep doing it. And, federal government be damned. We're gonna follow the rules and make sure that we're meeting the regulations, but we're feeding kids, and that's more important.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think you're right. There's not an appetite to take from kids.
Yeah.
So, yeah, yeah.
I definitely was thinking that too, Marge. And I guess kind of piggybacking on that, in the effort to diversify the funding i- in preparation of perhaps anything changing, what are those angles? Is it more like private donors that you're trying to facilitate, or are you going after certain grants? Like, what is that mechanism to find additional funding?
Absolutely. So I th the primary mandate when I came in was to build out a bunch of the new revenue lines. So we're trying to be as diverse as we can in the different means in which we're doing that. That includes developing, private donor base, starting to bring in, private funding, raising money, doing the classic nonprofit kind of work. We're actually having our first ever golf outing coming up next week. A lot of our vendors like to golf, so we're like, hey, we've been paying you a bunch of money for food. Why don't you come golf with us? And so we were able to raise some money that way. Um, and then a bit of corporate and additional grant money. And then also, nonprofit is sometimes a misnomer that, you know, nonprofits are supposed to be all woo-woo and all care all the time. And listen, our mission's very important, but we're also in here to raise some dollars. And, our new warehouse is going to be slightly bigger than we need. So we're exploring various, third-party logistic partnerships so that, people are going to be able to store pieces of, anything that they need to be shipping out on our premises, because we're also going to have 8,000 square feet worth of, not 8,000, that's too high. I don't remember how big our fridge and freezer is going to be, but we're going to have a pretty massive commercial fridge and freezer where we can store, food products that need to be stored cold or frozen. We're going to have dry storage space that we're going to be able to lease out. We get a bunch of, you know, not a bunch. We get some donated food product that is in excess of what we would need on a given day. And since we're very just in time, anything that's in excess, we typically send to a sharing excess or to a fill abundance. So we're able to kind of receive some credit in that regard. And then also just doing additional community service type work. So CBS and CBS Food Program stands for Community Benefit Solutions. And right now, the solution that we provide for the community's benefit is food. That's what we got. That's what we're good at. That's what we've been doing for 20 years. That doesn't mean that isn't the only solution that we can provide. All of the service providers that we're working with, they're solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, these daycare centers, these schools, these camps, these, other nonprofit programs. These are, entrepreneurs in their own right. And to the extent that we can find ways to provide additional support to build out an ethos of entrepreneurialism and small business in the Philadelphia area, we want to be able to do that too. I
Awesome.
hope that answered your question.
Mhm. Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, I
Giselle?
was curious. We're also an SFSP provider, and I was wondering like how you actually deliver your meal. So they arrive frozen, and then the sites just warm them up, or like what's the process there more specifically?
So depending on the meal, some come frozen and need to be warmed up. Some come refrigerated and need to be warmed up. So pretty much everybody that we're working with, we need them to have some level of capacity to heat food up. Everything's being delivered on our refrigerated trucks, which you saw in one of the pictures. We make sure to take temp at time of delivery, and anybody who's in our SFSPs has to send us temp at time of meal service. But yeah, mostly everything is either frozen or refrigerated. And then fruit product stays, depending on what fruit product it is and how well it can do in a refrigerator, that becomes a little bit more of a logistical headache. But luckily, I have a wonderful team of operators and warehouse food folks that do that for me.
Cool.
Great. I'd love to talk offline and learn more about what you do.
Definitely. Absolutely.
Bob.
I have another question. How do you deal with waste, or do you have any issues with food waste?
Um, Most of the time, we don't have waste.
That's
We
good.
do a very good job of trying to order precisely how much we need. That being said, at the center level, there may be more waste than we're being told about, right? We send the meals for the number of kids that we have enrolled and eligible. Um, let's say 24 kids are enrolled and 20 kids show up, so we have four extra folks. At that particular juncture, kids are allowed to eat extra, so if kids want more, they're allowed to have more. Typically, adults aren't supposed to eat, but sometimes they do, and sometimes stuff gets thrown out. That's kind of the nature of being a large food business. To the extent that we have stuff that comes back in bulk, or if we, over order for like a in the Christmas holiday time, uh, we had a bunch of just extra vegetables and fruits. It got a little bit complicated to have everybody tell us which days they were open or closed, and we overordered. So we worked with sharing excess, and we were able to send one of our trucks down there with all of the excess food to deliver to them for them to kind of handle because they do the excess food stuff.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions for Jonathan? Well, listen, Jonathan, that was a great presentation. We really do appreciate you sharing that with us. And of
Absolutely.
course, this will be posted up for folks to share out with their people. I guess one last thing, anything that you would say, folks like us who might not be in this space, like how can we help? Is it, just spreading the word or buying a golf ticket? Like how can we support you?
At this particular juncture, it's spreading the word. We need people to know that, you know, childhood food insecurity is an issue. Not that people don't already, but really understand the magnitude of that issue, right? It's not just, hey, Johnny, Jimmy, whoever is going hungry. Between the ages of 0 and 6, that impacts, neurological development, behavior in schools. It's everything for the rest of their life, really. And if we could focus in on this moment in time, the CBS Foods of the world, whomever is in this childhood food insecurity space, talk about them, spread the word. This is this might actually be one of those like, hey, we could really fix a lot of things by just fixing the way that we feed our kids.
Wow.
And then you'll see me on LinkedIn and stuff. And so any other calls to action, I will tell you about right away.
For sure, for sure. We appreciate it. Thank you so much, John. Thank you for coming in and sharing with us. It's very,
Looks
very
like
eye-opening
Gary's
for
got a
me,
hand.
for sure.
Is that for me, Gary?
Oh, Gary, question?
Yeah, as I listened to you, and it was a fabulous presentation and obviously a very important cause, Jonathan. The thing that keeps coming back to me over and over again is the fact that most people are not aware of the significance of this problem and that education is just so important. I know that radio stations, TV stations, they are required to do a certain number of PSAs. Do you feel that they are handling their responsibility and helping you to get the word out?
I'm going to plead the fifth using my legal education here. I Radio stations and TV stations, they have their own motives. I know that they may or may not have certain obligations for PSAs. What they do or don't say on their PSAs is not something I could particularly opine on with any level of confidence, but that's an interesting point. Well taken.
Are
Awesome,
there
folks.
other things that, and I mean,
Sorry,
I'm sure
Gary.
you're on top of it, but are there any other things that could be done to help educate the public about this need?
conversations like these. I think that we often get into, especially in our, social media driven era, our online era, there, there's a lot of things that need fixing. There's a lot of things that could be better, and many people are doing that. I heard recently that in 2024, more people spent hours working on behalf of other causes than any other year in human history. So good is happening in the world. There's just a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of things going on, and it's conversations like these, in groups of 2, 10, 50, where, you say, hey, wait a minute, education's, your cause. You really want to fix public education, charter education, whatever the case may be. Oh, wait a minute. You know how we might be able to help education? Childhood food insecurity. That actually might be an off the beaten path fix to somebody's problem that they care about, or entrepreneurship, right? Young entrepreneurship. Same thing. These small conversations when we're having, between friends, between colleagues, between networks. That's why, I was so grateful to be able to speak to all of you, because it's more impactful for 12 of us, 15 of us to sit here and have this conversation and really feel the nature of it, because now, we're all fairly smart individuals. The next time you're in a conversation about something that may be unrelated, you might be able to make that bridge and be like, hey, these problems are all kind of interconnected. So I think that, to answer your question, what can be done to help bring light? It's just more of these, smaller, intimate, more like direct conversations to be like, hey, these are the things that I care about. And here's how the things that I care about are connected to the things that other people around me care about.